All right, please let's give our attention to our next speaker, Susan Thomas. She's a pastor at the Fellowship of the Inner Light, who also serves on the Pastoral Council. She has previously served on the Fellowship's Board of Directors and as a Sunday school teacher. Susan has been an active member of the Fellowship since a month after Paul Solomon moved to Virginia Beach from Georgia in 1973. She is an Inner Light Consciousness guide, and she's currently our office manager. Office manager, newsletter editor, and housekeeper of the church. Her main ministries have been in our motherhood and performing, teaching, and composing music. She recognizes and embraces music as a healing vehicle. So now, speaking on the topic of personal disarmament from the teachings of Paul Solomon, Susan Thomas. Please welcome her.
Move some things around a little bit here. There we go. All right. It's wonderful to be here with all of you wonderful folks. I just need a moment to get my little props together here. There we go. As I'm looking out on all of you here, I'm feeling and seeing incredible beings of light. We all have our path to God. There's many paths to God as there are people. And this group has been blessed with the wonderful Fellowship of the Inner Light founded by Paul Solomon, and his teachings and his readings, and just all the people that have come here through the years to share. And we are indeed fortunate. People often point out to me who live in other places that there's people like this everywhere, but not that many places together. So we need to remind ourselves to have such gratitude for having a place to come and to be there for each other in the good times, the hard times, all the times, because we have unconditional love for each other. And that has led us to this topic I was requested to speak about today, which is called personal disarmament. Now that word could sound scary, like, you mean I won't have any defenses? Oh my gosh, I'll be helpless. And also, I could see a comedy like in the Old West when they're fully armed and have their holsters, and they walk into the saloon and, gentlemen, put your guns on the bar in court's in session. We've all seen that. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll share some ideas from Paul Solomon and my own experience and from some other philosophers about personal disarmament and what it actually is and what it isn't. Because sometimes it can be a confusing English word, disarming. The word defense, even the word peace. People have different ideas about it as we go along this road to figure it out. So, what I'd like to do first is read something from Paul Solomon that we often used in a healing circle. It's an excerpt from a source reading. What you will find is the law of love, and that law, that one law, speaks in such a manner as to say, love yourself, your source, and others equally, not loving self more and loving others less, not loving others more and loving yourself less, not loving God more and loving yourself and others less. If you have loved yourself enough that you cannot be offended when others do not agree, then you will learn to see that those who are unkind are those who are in pain, and you will not be available to be hurt by insults or by such actions as are meant to hurt and such. You will simply know yourself to be all right. You will not be a victim. You will be all right. And in that all rightness, you will have the strength to give healing to those who do not feel all right about themselves. When people don't feel all right about themselves and don't love themselves, they tend to do negative things that push our buttons. We've heard about this already in the tools we've talked about from the other speakers so far. And so obviously what we want to do is move into a space where, as much as possible, when something happens, we can identify, what mask am I wearing? What defense mechanism am I using? Now, at some point in your life, masks can work for you, and defense mechanisms as well. When you're 7 years old and something happened and that's all you had available. But if you keep using those same ones, sometimes you didn't need that, and it blocks you from opening more fully to your expression and to your communication with other people. Also, people who don't feel or know how to love themselves and do their own all-rightness often feel they have to make somebody else wrong to make themselves right. And according to Paul Solomon, war actually happens because people think they must make something else or someone else wrong to make themselves right. And it escalates to the point of city against city, state against state, political party against political party, country against country, and living in survival mode, thinking one must take territories and goods and food from others. Paul told a story where duality started on the earth and began to blossom on the earth, and that's when the rose had to develop thorns just to defend itself. And that's when the bees and the wasps had to have stingers. And there was a time when they didn't. And most animals do have defense mechanisms needed in the physical world. We have some that make sense. It's cold. You could say, I'm defending myself against cold by putting a coat on. That's not a negative. So there are healthy defenses. And so what I would like to do, before I talk about what this disarming thing is and isn't, is read one poem that I wrote several years ago. It's called Belief. And beliefs are not good, bad, right, and wrong. They just are beliefs. To me, they're stepping stones to the truth. They might have a whole truth in them or a part of a truth. They're on the way to the full understanding of it. And obviously some beliefs serve us, some do not. And a lot of the negative beliefs are involved in our emotions or negative self-talk, all of that kind of stuff. So this is a poem that I woke up at night and wrote, and I usually don't read my poetry, but it just felt like I should do this. Belief is a thief that comes in the night. Belief interferes with gaining true sight. It wraps its tendrils around the mind. It cajoles and convinces, but is not kind. Just as we think we have it figured out, it raises its head. It begins to shout. Louder and louder it makes itself known until seeds of doubt begin to be sown. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, drop your belief if you want to see. Begin to walk on this stepping stone until the truth begins to be shown. Belief is not right. Belief is not wrong. Belief leads the way as you find your song. Be grateful to have this stepping stone as it leads the way to what is unknown. Whatever is real and whatever is true requires no belief, and there's nothing to do. So drop the belief, move into the light, be grateful you had it, and end now the fight. So, I was just thinking, a defense mechanism I had as a child was don't speak at all. Right? I was terrified. The thought of speaking in front of anybody would have never occurred to me. I went through, I don't know what, when you had to walk up and do that little book report in elementary school. And I never raised my hand to say anything. I never spoke all the way through school until I went to college. That's how repressed. It was a safety mechanism where I was, but I didn't need that anymore, did I? And so you gradually have new experiences, new sense of the world, and you start coming out of a shell if you've been in one. And music, of course, brought me out too, because I couldn't play the violin in the shower. It wouldn't work too well for the instrument, right? So it brought me out. They're not going to shoot you, if you make a mistake. So anyway, but this is what I'm talking about. We overarm sometimes because of something that happened or that we perceived happened when we're younger or at any age. Okay, and I've known people with PTSD from war, and it was appropriate when they heard something on the field to duck and to get in that hole. But if they kept doing it 20 years later, it was an issue, a problem. And there's one that I know who's a minister, you still can't come up behind him without him, he's afraid he'll hurt somebody, because that's an automatic response to his body if they're coming up behind you. So there are different reasons for people to have different body, mind, spirit, emotional defenses. So anyway, what personal disarmament is not, it doesn't have anything to do with politics, guns, or military disarmament. Obviously, if a missile's coming at our country, we need to have some way to counteract that. That's not a negative, and it's not an intent to kill. It's just what they call self-defense. It doesn't mean not appropriately defending yourself. If somebody was coming up and attacking Kristen, I would do something. You think I'd just sit there and go, all la-di-da, all's right with the world? No. Because sometimes you got to do something you normally wouldn't do, And I don't know about Joshua. I think he can take care of himself. And Jerry can. I'm sure Jerry can too. But, I'm just using that as an example. It doesn't mean, I don't think we're not meant to sit there and just go, like a inward meditation. Sometimes we live on this planet. You got to move out of the way if a flood's coming. There's certain common sense. You got to take care of yourself and other people and children. If anybody was going to hurt a child, I'd step in. You step in and do what you can, whatever that happens to be. That's under, legally, also self-defense. It doesn't mean not setting boundaries. No. Everyone here is what I call a light worker type and a caretaker type. And there's times we're going to do the extra mile, right? How many people have ever done the extra mile? You can all raise your hands. And a few 10 miles, 100 miles, right? But if you stay like that on the front lines all the time, that's not healthy, is it? You get worn out, cranky, downright cranky. That's just it. So we have to, there's a time and a season. And if you're in a group that's doing this, boosting each other up and helping each other is good. When you notice one of us had, one had to go the extra mile. And so sometimes, even though you might normally do something, it's all right. We get so used to saying yes. One could say, I would love to help you, perhaps tomorrow. If it's not a national emergency or life and death. And then we get mad at ourselves because we took on so much, We go, wait a minute, why did I keep saying yes? So, and in the South, we ladies are taught to always say, yes, I'll be glad to help you. So, but discernment, just getting better at discernment. Saying no is a positive, not a negative. It doesn't mean you stay with a person or a situation no matter what and condoning negative behavior that's toxic, that isn't changing. You can forgive someone, but doesn't mean you have to stay with them in a relationship, friendship, job. I like the way the Irish accent does it when they go, just bless them and let them go. Sometimes you do that, and that's not a negative. You have to get the dust off of you and keep your eyes single and go forward. And perhaps they'll join you one day, but that's their choice. It's free will on this earth. People will do what they're going to do, and I'm only in control of my responses. So, now what personal disarmament is? It is taking off the heavy armor that we have built around ourselves to protect ourselves when we don't feel safe or aren't safe. Sometimes that adrenaline serves us, but then it begins to be heavy baggage if we don't let it go. It's exhausting to wear and carry around. It keeps us from getting close to parts of our own self. It keeps us from getting close to and trusting other people. It affects relationships, friendships, working with coworkers, and our general quality of life and happiness. And some, like I said before, might have been needed out on the battlefield or in a situation when you're a child. It helps to get counseling. The kind of work that Joshua described is very good for people who have not felt loved and done very negative things. That program you spoke about this morning really touched my heart, Joshua. And going to support groups, and using all the spiritual tools that we possibly could have to get through these things. And let it be a gentle process, a gradual process. You don't tear something off of a wound in a way that hurts the wound. Gently bless the situation. Don't make yourself wrong because you messed up. And whoa, I sure had some defense thing going on and a mask I was wearing. Just identify it. Go back to the drawing board. But I can figure out another way. And just the mere awareness of it takes half of it away and you're ready for new experiences. But I think it's so important because there's things not gentle in the world that we be very gentle. Stress gentle with your processes. What I'm going to do right now is have Sarah come up here and pass around. Where is it? We have pens if you need a pen and don't have one of your own, and pieces of paper. And I'll tell you what I'll suggest that you put on it as soon as I get the bowl that's going in. We started out the pre-gathering with the red terrace. The beginning, we went through that door, got the spark going, the passion, the life, the juice. And we had put some things in here to release to the altar. And so what we're going to do right now, I invite you, if you wish, if you can identify a mask you've worn that you would like to take off, or a defense mechanism you've used that you would like to let go of, or just simply the request, help me with the masks I wear, help me with what change I need with when I get defensive. And it could be the other end of it. I'm having trouble setting boundaries, and maybe I need to do that. You could put source of my being, help me set boundaries and not wear unnecessary artillery.'Whatever works for you. And take about 2 minutes I'll play just a little piano to accompany your thinking. Say it. All of the stuff I just said. Oh, a summary. If you have a mask you want to let go of, a defense mechanism you want to let go of, ask for help with identifying it even, and ask for help with defending yourself if you need to for something, but you're not sure what tools to use. I have trouble setting boundaries. Help me to do that. Because we need to affirm you deserve to be in a safe place all the time and give love to yourself and all rightness to yourself. And if you're in a place that never vibrates with that, you might want help with figuring out. Even help me have guidance to, should I stay in this job or this relationship? Or you might even ask, what kind of therapy do I need to get over something that happened? That maybe I've got some PTSDs, so I got too many masks on, I've got too many defense mechanisms. So just do that. We're going to do a prayer over it. Yeah, thank you, Jared. All right. We need to pass. Thank you. I'll read a couple of good quotes I found from some other people like Dalai Lama while you're putting those in there. All right, let's see. Where is Dalai Lama's? I can't find it. Theo James said, everybody has a bit of body armor they wear to protect themselves, and love is about trying to break it down. You have to see when a person really is, who they really are, and connect with them to break that armor. And let's see, Albert Einstein. No, he didn't say anything. Dalai Lama, here we go. Many people today agree that we need to reduce violence in our society. If we're truly serious about this, we must deal with the roots of it in each of us and embrace inner disarmament, reducing our own emotions of suspicion, hatred, and hostility towards our brothers and our sisters. And last but not least, Charlemagne, let my armies be the rocks and the trees and the birds in the sky. I like that. All right. Okay, Jerry, why don't you hold it up by the altar there like we do our offertory things. And I'm going to do a prayer. Yeah, I'll put the rest of them in. Yeah. I'll do a little prayer and a closing statement. And boy, we'll walk out of here lighter, won't we? Just letting go of something you don't need. Even if you don't know what it is, it's unconscious too. You can ask, hey, please take that thorn out of me. All right. Let us pray. Source of our being, we thank you for always being with us, guiding, comforting, healing, and living in us, through us, and as us. May we be filled with the peace that passes understanding. May we be filled with the peace of the Christ. May we lay down our fear and personal weaponry. May we pick up and carry the shield of love and protection in the Christ Spirit. May we pass this on as we co-create with God a heaven on earth. And in closing, I would like to say, let us remember that we are all created by the same Creator. There is no need to prove ourselves or prove our all-rightness. Truth stands. Truth does not require even being proven. Neither should we compare ourselves to other people, animals, trees, or flowers. All creation has its beauty. We are all in the same garden. We all need the same soil and water and nourishment. We all have valuable parts to play in creation. Life is for loving, living, creating, working, playing, relating, and adding to creation. Enjoy the use of all tools that contribute to peace and wholeness and love. Go forth in peace and frolic in creation.